Have you ever stopped to reflect why the biggest wins we carry in life don't come from strangers, but precisely those in whom we place our trust? Think about it. The person who knows your deepest secrets, your weaknesses, and fears has immense power over you, not for malice, but by simple human nature. She can unintentionally or even carelessly use this information against you at some point. So, although it seems hard, the truth is this: keep your pain to yourself. Many will react now with an internal discomfort. What do you mean? We are not social beings. We need not share our anguish. Yes, we need. But here's the fundamental question: who to share with? It is at this point that the true wisdom resides. I grew up listening to a simple but deep teaching coming from the Jewish tradition. Do not open your heart where it will not be valued. This means that the world tends to ignore our joy after all. It requires nothing of anyone but is interested in our pain, as if it were a spectacle. Happiness is light that illuminates without charging. The pain, however, is energy that attracts. Some will be honestly pitying, and these are rare, but many others will keep their weaknesses as a trump card, ready to be used when it suits. How many times have we seen someone trust a friend, then, in the midst of the discussion, listening to phrases like, "But you told me you didn't realize things yourself," or worse, find out that your vulnerability has become a source of laughter in your back? This is the moment when betrayal happens. And the tragedy? It was that we were ourselves, with our words, who provided the weapons to this blow. Imagine that you give someone a chest full of your secrets, fears, and insecurities. You believe that he will treat him carefully, but in practice some will keep him as sacred, while others will spy him thinking, "Now I know exactly where to tighten." So that chest is no longer yours. You open the lock yourself. There is a principle in Jewish wisdom that says, the word is like an arrow. While she is in her rush, she is yours. But once triggered, it belongs to another. Did you understand? Once you verbalize your pain, it is no longer yours. It will exist in the mind of others, and you will never know how it will be used. More than that, most people don't really know how to pity. They hear the problems of others not to help, but to compare. Well, at least my life is not that bad. Your pain becomes a background for their relief, and you think you found understanding when you actually served as a reference for someone to feel better with yourself. Stop and think. How many times have you vented seeking support and got the feeling of empty? This is because pain is not dirty water to be thrown on the street. It has another purpose: strengthen you, not leave it exposed. Some will say, if I keep everything for me, I'll suffocate. No, it won't. On the contrary, it is in silence that strength is born. When you learn to process the pain internally, it ceases to depend on the opinion or listening of others. Why do I say that? Because I saw the opposite side too much. People who lost friendships, families, reputation simply because they spoke too much at the wrong time to the wrong person, and then complain, "I trusted, but I didn't check if this confidence was deserved." Here is the core. We live in a world where information is power. The more you reveal about your weaknesses, the more power it delivers to the hands of others. You become vulnerable, and even those nearby can unintentionally use it against you. Because human nature is complex and full of contradictions. There is an idea that I want you to absorb. Your pain is not a burden, but a teacher. But only if you keep it and know how to work with her. If you surrender to others, you will be cheating on yourself. Today I will show why silence is so valuable and how to act when the desire to vent to tighten. These lessons can save not only your emotional but your destiny. One careless word, an extra outburst, and everything can change. When I say so as not to share your pain, I am not proposing that you turn a stone without emotions. Emotions are part of life, but there is a huge difference between human being and distributing their essence to crooked and right. I'd observed over the years a simple truth: those who complain too much lose respect. It looks contradictory, isn't it? We seek understanding. We think that when exposing our difficulties, we will receive support, but the effect is reverse. We are seen as fragile, unable to deal with life. Even if they say, "Don't worry, everything will get better," deep down many will think, so it's not as strong as it seemed. A businessman I know used to say, in negotiations, never show your problems, because your partners will not solve them, they will use them against you. And this is not just about business, it applies to any area: at work, in the family, among friends. Where you show weakness loses position. In Jewish culture, it is taught words must serve you, not destroy it. If they make it vulnerable, it is better to silence. A complaint is not a scream of the soul, it is an invitation for others to judge your life, intervene, condemn, or worse, pass on your confidences. I remember a neighbor as a child, a good man, but excessively open. He told all his difficulties, how hard it was to support his family, lack of money, children's diseases. It seemed harmless after all, I sought support, but what happened? Some failed to trust him, finding him unstable. Others helped out with air of superiority, as if they were doing a favor. His situation only got worse, and he didn't understand why. After all, it was sincere. But sincerity without prudence becomes naive. I then learned, if you want respect, keep your posture erect and the smile on your face. Even inside there is a storm. Let your battles be your secret, because the world admires those who overcome, not who regrets. Let us be frank. We all carry pain. Some lost someone dear. Others have been betrayed. Many live with silent disease or fights. Some face material difficulties that crush them like invisible weights. But the difference between those who are strengthened and who weakens is what they do with this pain. The forward turns it into lesson, the weak an excuse. And here lies a subtle, almost imperceptible border. I met people who repeated as a mantra, I am like that because life hurt me. They raised this flag of pain as a trophy, justifying each failure, every fall. But I also saw those who, in the face of the same scars, said, yes, I went through storms, but they taught me to navigate. Two paths to the same pain. The first corroy, the second builds. The question that remains is, what do you choose to do with your pain? Transform it into a story for distracted ears or use it as fuel to move on in my youth. A sage named Raven taught me something I never forgot. Not everyone who hears their pain will want to relieve her, but all who hear their joy, unintentionally, share some light with you. He understands joy is safe to divide because it does not expose us. It strengthens ties, while pain is intimate as an open wound. It is not shown to anyone, because there are those who be careful and there are those who poke just to see how far it bleeds. Therefore, learning to keep silence is not to close in an ice fortress. It is to have the wisdom to choose who to share what is sacred. If your soul is overflowing and you cannot stand carrying it alone, do not seek any listener. Look for right. It can be a father you trust, a mentor who has already triggered dark paths, or even a sheet of paper where you will pour your anguish and then burn them into a liberation ritual. But never give your pain to hands that don't know how to hold the soul of others. There is another crucial detail. Many times, people talk about their pain not because they need help, but because they want attention. And attention is cheap currency. It comes easy and goes away even faster. Today they hear you with pity. Tomorrow, they forget. And then, only the emptiness is left. So ask yourself, am I sharing to solve or just to hear words of comfort? If it is the second option, stop. It is a trap. True strength is born when you learn to dialogue with yourself, when you become your own counselor, your psychologist, your guide. Thus, the pain becomes wisdom, non-limitation. I want you to record a simple truth. The world respects who keeps the posture even when the storm runs inside. It is not hypocrisy, it's strategy, it's protection. People are attracted by strength, not by weakness. If you want to be respected, admired, heard, learn to be strong even when it hurts. Centuries of experiments prove this. Can anyone argue? But isn't it heavy? Isn't it wearing a mask? Yes, it's heavy, but that's how adulthood works. We all wear masks. The question is your complaint or resilience? It depends on how they will be treated. I will reveal a secret. Pain is like fire. If you throw it out, burn who is close, and in the end, burn yourself. But if she keeps her inside and learns to dominate her, she becomes her fire, warms, illuminates, gives energy. This is the art of turning pain into fuel, not a weapon against oneself. So when I feel like venting, I'm bad, I'm exhausted. He paused. Take a deep breath and ask, what do I want with this? Help or pity, solution or passing compassion? If you are honest, you will realize that most of the time you do not need the counsel of others. What you need is your own determination. Do not betray your pain with words in the wind. Let her become her personal growth tool. There is true strength, the authentic wisdom. This is how our ancestors lived. Less spoke. They acted. They did not spread the soul around every corner, but kept it like a treasure. When you master this art, you will see your surroundings change. People will stop looking at you with condescension, will respect you, trusting you, because the strong are heard, the fragile only mourned. The difference is abysmal. Remember, the penalty does not raise, humiliates, respect. Yes, magnifies. And it starts when you stop distributing your pain to strangers. Now everything that has been said is chained as pieces of a puzzle. These are not empty words or beautiful phrases. It is life tested by time, which I observed, lived and felt, on the skin. If you only take one lesson today, that is, your pain is your treasure, not the tool of others. Many do not understand the value of their own inner energy. They think that sharing suffering relieves the burden. But it is like spilling pure water from a chalice in a strange vessel. Water can get lost, the chalice can break, and the vase can become empty. Pain is not garbage to be thrown away. It is a seed of strength, experience, and it only germinates when it remains in safe soil, inside you, in your heart, in your mind. But how to carry this weight alone? Isn't it too much? Some ask. It's heavy, yes, but this is how true life reveals itself. Force is shown when you support yourself, when no one sees, when you remain human even when the world seems to conspire against you. By keeping the pain within you, you season the spirit, learn to accept what cannot change, and, step by step, transforms pain into experience. The experience of wisdom. I met a woman who lost everything: husband, work, home. It could cry around every corner, shout at the injustice of the world, but it chose another way. Silent, he kept the pain with him. Mourning was allowed, but never let others' ears steal his heart. Years later, he became strong, independent, safe. And do you know what happened? People began to look at her with admiration, not with mercy. The same pain that others spread as an excuse, she used as in foundation. This is the essence. The pain lived in silence forges power. Exposed pain creates vulnerability. The world respects those who face their battles alone. The world values strength, not self-deemed. This is what you need you to understand. When you learn to keep your pain, you free yourself from the judgment of others. You no longer need to seek external support because you become your own pillar. This is true independence. And there is one more point that cannot be ignored. When you stop sharing your pain with those who do not deserve it, it begins to see the real people around you. True friendship reveals itself in respect, not in the feather. True love is shown in appreciation, not in use. And respect this, yes, it is a treasure that must be stored as a rare jewel. I want you to do a little exercise right now. Think about it every time you shared your pain and, instead of relief, reaped only disappointment or a larger void. Now imagine that in that situation you had chosen silence not to stifle the emotion, but to turn it into fuel for your decisions. Feel how your energy reorganizes. Realize how your look at life gains more clarity and firmness. This is the feeling of power that is born of self-control. Here is the essence of wisdom, knowing how to choose who to trust. It's fundamental alien to have someone with whom they can open in depth and security. But these people are rare like pearls. The rest, they are just passers-by on their journey. Each one who hears his confessions without deserving them can become not an ally, but someone who will use his words against you, whether by evil, carelessness, or simple misunderstanding. So, before exposing your pain, ask this question: is this person worthy of carrying a piece of my truth? If the answer is no, keep silence. If so, share but with discernment. And remember, often, silence speaks louder than any speech. When you dominate this art, everything around you begins to change. People will see it otherwise. You will no longer be seen as someone who deserves to pity and will become an imposing presence, a center of force that does not depend on approval, sympathy, or compassion of others. Then the real value lies. The pain guarded and transformed into lesson becomes wisdom. Wisdom, in turn, becomes dominion over its destination. This is not a new idea. It is a legacy transmitted by generations and families who understood that the inner force is not distributed to random. The wisest have always taught, do not give their soul to anyone. Do not expose their weaknesses to indifferent eyes. Preserve your energy. Your pain is at the same time your weapon and armor. If you deliver it without discretion, it hurts you. If you guard and use it intelligently, it protects and strengthens it. This is the essence of millennial wisdom, tested by time, history, and experience of those who knew how to survive and prosper even in adversity. And to finish, I leave a simple but powerful advice: keep your heart open only for those who have tasted loyalty, discernment, and strength. For the others, observe, listen, and learn in silence. It is not cold, it is strategy, a strategy that protects its essence, energy, and its way. If this idea resonates with you, if you want to deepen knowledge about how to preserve your inner strength, turn challenges into resources, and cultivate a resilience that makes you live, not just surviving, follow the space. Here, I share proven principles, insights, and secrets that help people sail for life with conscience without losing themselves in the process. Your pain may be your greatest ally, but only if you know who to trust it. Keep it, learn to work it, and then become someone who walks with his head held high, who overcomes obstacles with elegance, and who really lives, not only exists. Follow with us, because we will talk about how to maintain the integrity of the spirit, how to extract wisdom from trials, and how to build a life in which you never feel vulnerable to others' words or judgments. This path requires courage, but reward with freedom and force that no money can buy. And remember, your inner strength begins in silence. Cultivate it, develop it, use it, because no one will protect your soul better than yourself.